much. But this was just Giannis being Giannis. I don't look at this as, oh, wow, he's not confident. He's unsure of himself. He's unsure of his team. I think Giannis was just being transparent and being honest, which he typically is. So I don't read too much into this quote. Look, this is going to be a tough series. This is going to be a very good series. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Miami beats them. I've deliberated about this as far as who I want to pick. I'm going with Milwaukee in 7. I think it's going to be hard fought, but I think the Bucks are a different team than they were a year ago for several reasons. One, their personnel's different. Adding Drew Holiday or replacing Eric Bledsoe with Drew Holiday is big, and then they also, of course, brought in P.J. Tucker. Drew Holiday presents problems for the defense that Bledsoe just didn't. Holiday shot 39% from 3 this year. Bledsoe 34% last year. So the Bucks are a better three-point shooting team. Last year they were mediocre from behind the arc. This year they are elite from behind the arc, which is going to make it tougher for Miami when they build that wall against Giannis because he's kicking it out to better, more accurate shooters. The other reason it'll be tougher for them to wall off Giannis, or there's a couple more. This year they had him in the mid-post more in Milwaukee. He's taking more mid-range jump shots than ever. And so it's not just going to be him coming from the top of the key trying to go downhill against that wall. Then they put a guy in the dunker spot now, which is on the baseline near the rim. So when Giannis drives, if they wall him off, he can dump it off to the guy at the dunker spot. So those are some ways they're going to be able to combat what Miami does defensively against Giannis. Not that it won't be effective at all, but it won't be as effective as last year, I don't believe. And Miami was a great three-point shooting team last year, second in the league. This year, middle of the pack. Tyler Hero and some of these guys that played great in the bubble have not been the same this season. So for those reasons, I'm going with Milwaukee, but I think it's a tough series.
I think it's a tough series. I think it's Milwaukee in 6. But I want to talk about Giannis's words and then Milwaukee's actions. Like, Giannis's words to me are like Broussard said. It was his version of LeBron saying you put the work in and you trust the results. Like, which we've heard LeBron say again and again. Where Giannis like, listen, I can't guarantee you anything, but I just know that, you know, what we're rooting for. I also think that Giannis and the Bucks' history in the playoffs is being slightly misremembered by people. 2 years ago, they won 8 of their first 9 games en route to the conference finals. They were up 2-0 on Toronto, and Game 3 went to double overtime. They lost that game, and then it snowballed away from them. Also, in the moment, that looked bad, but now that we know Toronto won the title, it doesn't look quite as bad. Now, obviously, last year's series against Miami was horrifying on all accounts, but also, Miami ended up being a little better than people thought. They make the finals. They end up going 6 with the Lakers, even though they deal with the injuries. But Wilds, here's why I believe in Milwaukee. Because they, at the end of the regular season, did the Bizarro Clippers. They played Miami in Game 71. They could have easily lost that game on purpose, rested Giannis, and you know who they'd be playing in round 1? The Knicks. Maybe the Hawks, but definitely not Miami. They played their guys to beat Miami, to set up this series. I think because they know, guys, we have to get over that mental hump because no matter who we play in round 1, round 2, Brooklyn is coming. There you go. And the idea of, oh, let's try to beat the Knicks or the Hawks. But you need to get over whatever mental baggage you have from previous playoff failures if you're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Nets, who have no baggage whatsoever. They've already crowned themselves champions. They did it the moment they traded for Harden. They started playing in their parade. So I like their actions, to me, Wilds, are a wildly confident team because they signed up to play Miami knowing what Miami did to them last year.
Yeah, it's a quiet confidence, and it's a singular focus, too. Earlier this year, Giannis is like, we like being sort of underrated. We like being quiet. No one's talking about, hey, you know, Milwaukee should win the title. You don't hear that a lot. We didn't hear any Giannis should win his another MVP chatter. We didn't hear it. We didn't hear it from Giannis. We didn't hear it from his teammates. They just seemed totally focused. We also didn't hear any drama out of Milwaukee. Guys didn't miss a ton of games.
Yeah.
Their guys, like, where was the drama? So it is just this quiet confidence that Giannis has, Brandon.
Right.
It reminds me of like when you show up at sort of like a pickup run, and there's people out there with all sorts of different energy levels, but there's one guy that's just kind of like struts onto the floor, like, uh-oh, that guy's the best player on the court. So I just feel like Giannis and the Bucks are just singularly focused on the title and sort of like keeping distractions away. I think they're going to do really well.
And I think it's bigger than just one game or this season, you know, a title run. It's the way of the athlete, right? Like, you know, I know a lot of people listening to this may look at it and say, what is Giannis talking about? But when I sit down with athletes, and I've been sitting down with youth athletes since 2012 when I opened up a performance facility, and it's from ages 7 all the way through pros. And there's two things I always give them, 2 books: The Way of the Peaceful Warrior and Body Mind Mastery, because this is what you want. You want an even kill player, because an even kill player, no matter the situation, they're going to be able to perform at their highest level. Now, what Giannis said is interesting, and everybody out there listening, whether you're an athlete or not, you should really listen and tap into this. He said, when we win, don't be hanging from the rafters. When we lose, don't drop your head. We saw LeBron James do that in this play-in game against the Warriors. You didn't see LeBron James smile. You saw LeBron James hit a 34-footer, and he didn't even smile. He just looked at it. He said, my eye, my eye, my eye. Most players in that moment, they're running, they're jumping on the scores table. Now, there will be moments for that. But LeBron James knew that we're just now getting started. We have 2 more months of basketball potentially. So we got to be locked in. Go into the press conference. LeBron James, same tone. And you're going to see that. So Giannis is actually right where he needs to be. But the only problem with Giannis is he needs a shot. That's what we need. We need a shot. Mentally, his mindset is right. That's why he's a great player. But we need you to go from great to elite. And elite, you need to be able to hit that shot, because this is modern NBA.
No, that's right.
We need you to hit a 34-footer. That's what we need, Giannis.
No. That's right. And if he does somehow develop a shot, then in the series against the Nets, he'll average 50 instead of the 40 he averaged in the regular season against them without a shot. So, like, I agree, a shot would be good, but without the shot, he averaged a humble 40 per game. And I do think for Giannis, playoff failure against the Raptors, Kawhi, at the time, one of the best defenders in the league. Last year against the Heat, you have Bam, maybe the best defender in the league, certainly on the short list. If they get through Miami, I understand Broussard and Brandon be picking the Nets in that series. Nobody on the net, Giannis is going to feel like, oh my God, I'm finally free a bit. Like I can do what I do. Now maybe the Nets can outscore him, but the toughest defense he's going to play, at least early, Miami's would be tough, Philly would be tough.
Nick,
the Nets would be a nice
question?
little oasis for him. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. So are you picking the Bucks because of defense? Is that what it is? Is that what it's coming down to? It's just defense?
Yes. I think defense, and I think Drew Holiday's a massive upgrade for them from last year. And I do like, if they would have ducked the Heat, I wouldn't be confident in them. The fact that they went out of their way to play the team that beat them tells me they believe in themselves in a way a lot of teams don't, Jenna.
Some of those teams being the Clippers, of course. Back talking tonight's playing game. Can Steph and the Warriors get the win, remain a serious playoff threat? We'll have that for you next. First things first.